Hi, I'm Alexandra Matthews and welcome to my movie review. Tonight we're talking about A Quiet Place Part 2, which just came out today. This movie made me very stressed out. You'll see why. So the movie basically kind of summarizes what happened in the first one. Well, it doesn't really summarize it. So it kind of it begins with a flashback of the first movie. Like a certain part in the first movie, and then it starts right after the first movie left off. So it follows Evelyn, the mother, Marcus and Reagan, and the baby, which are her remaining children, and then Marcus, who was a family friend. Basically, because of the events of the first film, the family, the mother and her children, have to leave the farmhouse where they are, and they seek refuge somewhere else, and then they come across a new space. Someone gets injured, and then one person from the family goes to get help where they think there are other people. And then the movie basically just kind of is that journey. It's a stressful one. I never saw the first one, but I did read a summary about it, so I'm aware of what happens during the first one. And I will say that I enjoyed the movie. It definitely had me on the edge of my seat. I was very stressed out the whole time, but in one part in particular, I was actually shaking. And I'll explain a little bit more about why that is. But I would say that it's definitely worth watching. So if you don't want spoilers, then stop right there. But make sure that you like and subscribe and leave a comment and let me know what you thought of the movie when you see it. I guess obviously if you don't want to see spoilers, you haven't seen it, so come back and watch this after you've seen the movie and let me know what you thought. After the semi recap from day one, we go to day 474, I think, and I was really confused in the next scene because they're at their farmhouse and the barn is on fire, and the mom goes back in and it's also flooding because I guess they had killed one of the monsters in the first movie that I didn't see. And she puts the baby on this bassinet type thing, and well, first she's taking the baby out of her little carrier, and I'm like, oh my god. I don't know if anybody else thought this, but I was really nervous because I'm like, is she gonna drown the baby? Is she having some kind of postpartum issue? Or is she thinking that the baby will cry and they will all die, so is she gonna drown this kid? I did not know. But she puts the baby in this floating bassinet thing to get supplies, basically, because they're gonna have to leave their home. They come to this place that has all these booby traps, and the son gets his leg caught in a trap, screams, and a monster comes. So the daughter, Reagan, has set up this radio device with her cochlear implant. Is that? I think it's called a cochlear. No, it's not an implant. It's a hearing aid. I think it's just a regular hearing aid. But she's able to, I guess she learned from her father how to do this combination to stun the monsters so that they can be killed. And then the mother shoots the monster. So somebody all the while is watching from a scope, from a gun, from a building. But I'll back up just a minute though. The stress started when I just saw the family on the move before they got to this place. Because I have a daughter who's 2 years old. And I'll just go ahead and say it. I think that if the apocalypse were to come, I probably wouldn't survive. I am not good in stressful situations. So when I'm watching her on the move with her kids, knowing she lost one and her husband, I was so stressed out because I truly just, I'm not good in stressful situations. I pretty much just fall apart. So all the while I'm thinking, like, I'm wondering, you know, when you see movies like this where people have to survive, you know, they have to like fight monsters and people alike, and I always wonder, like, what makes somebody so strong? Like, is it just in them, or would she not be this strong if she didn't have kids she had to be strong for? I just wonder, because obviously, like, I would probably do the same as best I could for my kid, but at the same time, you're like, you have all these odds against you. And I just really got into it and put myself in her shoes, and it stressed me out. They kill the monster. Evelyn gets Marcus is the son's name. Evelyn gets Marcus out of the bear trap, and they get into the building and they realize that the occupant is it's a friend of theirs, someone who they were friends with, because their kids, I think, played sports together. It seemed like a really tight-knit town in a small town or suburb of New York. Didn't like Cloverfield start in New York? This reminded me of Cloverfield. I never saw the Cloverfield movie, but I saw 10 Cloverfield Lane, and the monsters seem really similar. Emmett, who is the neighbor that they come across, is really defeated because he's lost his son. I think he lost his son on day 1, and then 11 weeks prior to this day, he lost his wife who had gotten sick. So he's all alone. He lost his family. He's not really looking to help another family. He kind of just wants to be alone. And he tells them that they need to leave the next day. But the daughter comes across this signal, or this radio station that's playing Somewhere Beyond the Sea, or Beyond the Sea, over and over again, and she realizes that it's a signal, you know, that it's signaling to people that there's people somewhere, and she's able to find out on a map that it's on this island, and she decides that she needs to go to save her family. She goes, but the next morning when Evelyn discovers that she's gone, she begs Emmett to go after her, so he does. Now, Emmett and Reagan are trying to get to this island. Evelyn is trying to get to a pharmacy to get medication and supplies to help her son's ankle. The son, Marcus, is staying back with the baby. So there's this point in the movie where you're seeing all 3 of their situations kind of at once, and that is where I started getting so stressed out that I started shaking. I don't think that's ever happened in a movie in a long time, or ever. And to be fair, like, I don't typically watch a lot of new movies, at least not like scary movies, because a lot of them don't really grab my attention. But I'm trying to open myself up to new things, and I think my tolerance is just not very high for stress in movies, especially when I get so involved in it and I put myself like in the place of a character. So Emmett and Reagan need to find a boat to get to the island. They find these boats, but a trap is set for them when they come across this child who traps them. She puts this rope around Emmett's neck that has cans, that if the cans move, they're going to signal the monsters. So there's all these like sea people, I don't know, this group of people that are like, I guess they're living in the boats, or they're like on the dock, and they want to take Reagan. Also, they take her things, but they want to take her. And chaos kind of ensues, and Emmett signals for Reagan to dive into the water, and then he basically signals for the monsters by moving the cans, and then the monsters come and start attacking people, and then he puts the ringleader up against a post, and then he dives into the water as well. So as the monsters are attacking everybody, Emmett realizes that when one of them gets in the water, he thinks he's going to be chased, but the monsters can't swim in water. They get to the island and discover there's this community of people there. They've been broadcasting this song to get more people there. That's how they all kind of came together, is they figured out where this signal was coming from. So it's kind of interesting that it's like this sanctuary, because they just came from people who we're using this situation in a really bad way. And obviously, when put in this situation, you're either going to be a really horrible person or you're going to help people. I guess the third option is you just want to stay by yourself and you just want to be in it for yourself. You don't want to help or hurt anybody. But the boat people were an example of one type of person, and then the people on this island just want people to come to be safe because it's an island and the monsters can't get to it, or so we think. But we realize that one of the boats becomes untethered and a monster is aboard and is able to finally get to the island. More on that. The mother comes back from getting supplies and sees that her son, of course he's a kid, we're really stressed out about what's going on with him because he leaves the baby in this basket with the top closed with the oxygen mask. I don't know why he needs an oxygen mask because I didn't see the first movie. I know they need it when they're in the little tank because there's only so much air, but I don't know if he has a breathing condition or what, or if they just use it because he's in the basket a lot. I don't really know. But the oxygen tank is very, very low. And so I heard another woman beside me in the movie theater that was like, oh my God, is he going to kill the baby? Because you worry the baby's going to suffocate and die. And the whole time I'm sitting there like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Because I'm a mother and that kind of thing stresses me out. And before I started this video, I saw this article, this headline that John Krasinski, obviously he and his wife are in the movie, or he died in the first movie. He's directing it / producing it, and his wife is playing Evelyn, and he said that he, in this one, rather than physically putting her through the ringer, he put her through the ringer mentally by using her kryptonite, which is children in peril. That is now my kryptonite since having a child. FYI. She comes back because the son is like walking around this warehouse and he comes across the mummified body of Emmett's wife, and then gets freaked out, makes a noise, the creature comes. He and the baby get stuck inside the chamber because the little towel on the outside to keep it from completely shutting them in is moved, and he can't get out and he can't breathe, and the oxygen tank is very, very low. The mother comes back, knows that the monster's in there, and she's able to distract the monster long enough to get back down into the chamber with, I think they might have she might have had another tank with her, but they're trapped in there. And then you get back to the island, and Emmett hears this noise and realizes there's a monster on a boat that has come to shore. He runs back to the camp and tells everybody to get inside. This is another stressful moment. There's a man on the island that has agreed to help Emmett, and Emmett, I need to get this man's name. I don't even know if they gave him a name. I think he's just, when I looked up I happened to look who plays him, and he's just called Man on Island, so they didn't give him a name in the cast. So the man on the island agrees to help them before all this happens, and then in the chaos, Emmett, Reagan, and Man on Island escape in a car. They're trying to take the monster's attention away from the camp, and they go to the radio station. The man is freaked out, worried about his family. He thinks they lost the monster and he wants to go back, but then the monster grabs him. They get inside and work to dodge the monster, and Reagan gets to where this record is being played, where it is being broadcast from, and she's able to put her hearing aid together with, I don't know how it all works, with the radio and the radio station, and is able to subdue the monster, kill the monster. And then because Marcus back in the chamber has his headphones on, he could hear that noise when it goes off, and then he uses his radio to stun their monster and shoots that monster. That is basically where it is left. So it pretty much leaves it open for a third movie. I wonder if this is just going to be a trilogy, how many sequels there are going to be. The next one hopefully would tie it up. I'm hoping for a happy ending, but I don't know, we'll see. Again, if you saw this movie, let me know what you thought about it. And I'm seeing Cruella next. Today I also bought tickets for The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, which I believe I'm going to be seeing on June 4th. So if you like these movies, leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications so that you see my other movie reviews, and I will see you in my next video.